It was a tough night for Blue Jackets and Blue Jackets prospects last night as Columbus lost 4-1 to the Philadelphia Flyers, and top Columbus Blue Jackets prospect Kent Johnson's career in college is seemingly over as they lose to Denver in the semifinal of the men's Frozen Four. But what does that mean for his future as a Blue Jacket? We're going to talk about that and all things Philadelphia coming up today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, and thank you for making me your first listen or your first watch of the day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and also on YouTube. So if you are not watching, then maybe you should be, because you can see me talk with my hands and move around, and also the cool paintings that I have behind me. But today, we are going to be talking about the loss to Philadelphia, the return of Cam Atkinson to Nationwide Arena, and we're also going to check in with a Blue Jackets prospect as Kent Johnson and his team were eliminated from the Frozen Four last night, losing 3-2 in overtime to the University of Denver. So, tough night for all things Blue Jackets. Honestly, losing to Philadelphia, tough. Welcoming back Cam Atkinson, really great to see him. Obviously, big part of the team here. Second in basically every category that there is, apart from hat tricks, which he is first in. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And for the first time ever, I am bummed that the University of Michigan lost a game. So we'll start off with the Flyers, because we might as well. Blue Jackets lose 4-1, just after a fantastic performance on Wednesday night or Tuesday night, I think, where they beat them 4-2. Elvis made like 47 saves or something crazy. Not as good last night. Like I said, Flyers just came more prepared, I think. It started off great. It started off, everyone was having fun. Eric Robinson scored a shorthanded goal immediately after the Cam Atkinson tribute video, which I thought was very appropriate, considering Cam Atkinson is the original shorty who scores shorties. Eric Robinson is not a shorty, but he does love to score shorties. That's his 9th of the season. Vladislav Gavrikov creeping up on 30 assists, which, again, I can't overstate this for a guy like Vladislav Gavrikov, like 30 assists. I'm pretty happy with that offensive output from him. And then it kind of goes downhill. In the second period, Kevin Connauton, who, I didn't know he was still in the NHL either, former Blue Jacket, scores his first goal of the season in April. The Blue Jackets let it happen because they keep doing this. Unassisted. Just, okay, in fairness, it was a weird goal. Or no, it was weird right up until Kevin Connauton got the puck, and then he just sniped it. But Blue Jackets, or I think a Flyer, rimmed the puck around the boards, and Jake Bean was in perfect position to collect it, and it hit the dasher. Sometimes it just kind of bounces weird like that, went through his legs straight to a Flyer. Bean tried to recover, but Connauton didn't really waste any time, put it straight past Elvis, and game is tied. And again, the Blue Jackets have allowed someone to score their first goal of the season, and it's not the former Blue Jacket that anyone was expecting, but there it is anyway. Not long after that, Owen Tippet scores to make it 2-1 Philadelphia, and that's kind of the moment where I started to have a bad feeling about this game. Owen Tippett's 8th of the season, and then Noah Cates scores his 2nd of the season. I feel like Noah Cates scored his 1st of the season against the Blue Jackets as well, which again seems appropriate. He only scores against blue teams. That seems fine. And then everyone's favorite pest, Travis Konecny, scores to make it 4-1 in the 3rd period, and that's game. The Blue Jackets, they tried, I guess. They got outshot by the Flyers. They got out face-offed by the Flyers. The penalty kill was really good. They killed off all 4 Philadelphia power plays. They didn't score on any of their own power plays, but that's kind of what I expect at the minute, honestly. In terms of shot differential, they got outshot every period, but they kept it pretty even. It was 31-27 to the Flyers by the end, and the Blue Jackets didn't do that thing where they kind of give up in the third period and have like 4 shots on goal. The shots on goal in the third period were 10 to Philadelphia and 8 to Columbus, which honestly is better than I expected, considering they typically, like I say, they do the thing where if they're down by a couple of goals, they either turn it on and outshoot the other team like 2-1, or they give up and get outshot like 3-1. And they didn't do either of those things. They didn't score, but it was a much more even period than I expected. I still maintain that Elvis Merzlikins is not 100%. He was very good on Tuesday night. Like I said, 47 saves. He was not as good tonight. He made 27 of 31 saves, which is an 871 save percentage, which is not good enough, honestly. I don't necessarily think he's to blame. Again, I will be very, very surprised if we get to the end of the season and they don't announce that he's having some kind of surgery or that he's been dealing with some kind of injury. I don't know, he's just not moving right. There's something like up with somewhere in his lower body. And I can't say anything like more pinpoint than that, but that's the feeling that I'm getting. Like it might be a hip, it might be his lower back, I don't know, but it might be his groin, but something is not right. And you could see, and I understand the argument that Brad Larson made the other day when he talked about how Elvis needs to be prepared for when these games do matter and that he gets played a lot down the stretch, but also I feel like playing a goalie that's hurt is a bad idea, but I know they don't pay me to, well, do anything, but especially not make decisions about goaltending. So I guess we'll just kind of see how he does. I assume he's going to play in Detroit. I assume he's going to play the rest of the season, honestly. Berube might get to play against Montreal, but the Blue Jackets are done with. Oh no, they're not done with back-to-backs. They're playing LA and Anaheim in a couple of weeks, and then they've got Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh as the final 2 games of the season back-to-back. So we might see Berube. I highly doubt it. He might get 2 games in there. Blue Jackets have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got 10 games left. If Merzlikins starts less than 8 of them, I will be extremely, extremely surprised. But that's enough ranting about goaltending, because if I start, then I will be here literally all day. In a minute, we're going to talk about Cam Atkinson, the impact he had on Columbus, his return to Nationwide, and what that seemed to mean for a ton of the fans. But first, I've got to tell you about Built Bar, because if you don't know what Built Bar is by now, let me tell you. It is a protein bar that tastes exactly like a candy bar. They are delicious. They are nutritious. The thing about Built Bars is that they work out how to make them taste good first, and then they make it healthy for you instead of making it the other way around. And you can really tell because, you get these protein bars from a gas station and they taste waxy or chalky, and the mint tastes like toothpaste. The peanut butter doesn't taste like peanut butter. All of the Built Bars taste exactly like they're supposed to. And if you haven't tried the Built Puffs, you are missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. They are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They are fluffy, they are soft, they're a treat. They come in 100% real chocolate. They're my favorites. They've got incredible flavors: churro, banana cream pie, and they've just released a brownie batter Built Puff, which honestly sounds good as hell. So here's the best bit about Built Bar. If you go to built.com, you can use promo code LOCKED15, that is LOCKED 15, and get 15% off your order. Once again, that is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Welcome back to Locked on Blue Jackets. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day or your first watch of the day, depending on which platform you are using. But if you are watching or listening, I appreciate you. It doesn't matter which one, you are all my favourites. And speaking of favourites, let's talk about Cam Atkinson. I was going to have his jersey hanging up behind me, and then I forgot before I'd hit the record button. So instead, you will have to deal with my very boring backdrop. Uh, Cam Atkinson, arguably one of the best players to ever wear a Blue Jackets jersey. He is second in basically every offensive metric. He's second to Rick Nash, by the way, who obviously just got his jersey retired. So that kind of tells you what kind of player Cam is. It probably tells you a little bit about what kind of team the Blue Jackets are as well. The Blue Jackets were real bad for a real long time, but Cam Atkinson is second in goals, points, assists, games played. He's second in game-winning goals. He's first in hat tricks. He has 6 hat tricks with the Blue Jackets, and we miss him. I think it's, and I've talked a lot about the Voracek trade before and how good it was for the team. And I do genuinely think that this was a fantastic move for both teams. Cam Atkinson is leading the Flyers in goals. Voracek is leading the Blue Jackets in assists, last I checked. He is. He has 46. He has 51 points and 46 of them are assists. Like it's basically he is exactly as advertised. Cam Atkinson, I think, is on 24 or 25 goals for the Flyers. So again, exactly as advertised. It was a trade that worked out for both teams. At some point in the offseason, I'm going to sit down with the guys over at Locked On Flyers, and we'll really break down, how that trade went about and what we think of it, after a whole season of these players. But Cam Atkinson was one of my favorite Blue Jackets for a really long time. I have his jersey. I have the All-Star jersey from when he went to the All-Star game in San Jose. He was a really good Blue Jacket. He clearly loves the city a lot. He talks about. There was a really good bit in an Athletic article, I think by Aaron Portsline, where Cam Atkinson talked about how that when he got traded, they sold their house in Upper Arlington, and then like 3 months later, it went on the market again, and they just bought it back. So I think he's going to be spending the off season in Columbus. I imagine. He said he plans to retire here. He's got a hockey academy here, his Battery Hockey Academy, which has really kind of been a staple of Columbus youth hockey for a couple of seasons now. He's really important to the city of Columbus. The city of Columbus is really important to him, and it was nice to see him back. It was a really nice video tribute. I miss him. I think the team misses him. Obviously, again, glad that we have Voracek. I think Voracek has been fantastic in terms of developing, or not developing, but I think he has been a real difference maker in kind of the season that Boone Jenner had before he got shut down with a back injury. He has been a real revelation to play on the wing with Patrick Laine. I think that's been a real match made in heaven. And beyond that, it's I just think Voracek is a much better fit for how the team is put together at the minute. And that's no disrespect to Cam Atkinson, but it's how it is. But there is still, I think there's always going to be a part of me. There's always going to be a part of a lot of Blue Jackets fans that wanted him to be a Blue Jacket forever, wanted him to retire here. But it's so rare for teams to keep a player for their entire career. I mean, the Flyers just traded Claude Giroux, you know, um, and so it was nice to see him back. I'm very glad that he didn't score a hat trick. I was prepared for that the entire game. But I think it's like seeing an ex that you broke up with on good terms. You're happy that they're happy, but also you're kind of happy with how your life is now. I think and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Speaking of breakups, I guess, Kent Johnson, we're going to talk about in a minute, and what he's going to do now that his college season is over. That's coming up next. But first, I've got to tell you about BetOnline, because it is the number one source for all your betting needs and sports information. They've got the Masters Championships on there. Obviously, Tiger Woods had a really great day yesterday. He golfed to 1 under par. See, I know sports that aren't hockey. You can find all of the latest sports developments, odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. We're talking baseball. Obviously, baseball had opening night last night. They've got basketball, the playoffs are starting soon. They've got hockey, obviously, playoffs are starting soon. They've got UFC, they've got boxing, they've got Vegas casino games, they've got basically any sport and esport you can imagine. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. So head to the website today, betonline.net, or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action because BetOnline is where the game starts. So let's talk Ken Johnson because his college season is over. Like I said at the top of the show, the University of Michigan Wolverines lost to the Denver University Pioneers last night, 3-2 in overtime. I predicted a 4-3 overtime win for Michigan, so I feel like I should get partial credit for predicting the overtime, but also I'd forgotten. I was not prepared for quote unquote playoff overtime. I am out of practice at this, and so it was an incredibly stressful game to watch, but also really, really fun. I thought Ken Johnson had a really quietly solid game. He had moments where, he just kind of it looked like he was inches away from changing the course of the game. I think he would have liked to have been on the score sheet. I think uh, he's disappointed with how his game went, but I don't necessarily think he played badly. But the thing is, his college season is over now, and there's a lot of talk about what he's going to do. I was talking to draft prospect expert Tony Ferrari, who has been on the show to talk Shane Wright, Brad Lambert, etc. We'll have him on again at some point to talk more prospects because Blue Jackets are probably going to be picking twice in the top 15. So gotta get those prospect profiles done. But I was talking to him, and he said that he would actually recommend that Johnson goes back to Michigan for another year to be like the guy there. Matty Beniers is probably signing with Seattle at some point next week. Owen Power, I assume, is going to Buffalo some point next week. Luke Hughes, I think, is staying in Michigan. Who else was drafted in the first round? Maki Samoskevich was had a pretty good game, I thought. He will likely be staying. Thomas Bordeleau will probably be going to San Jose. So it's going to be a very different Michigan squad. And I think Ken Johnson could have really benefited from being the guy. On the flip side, potentially there is nothing else he could get from being in college. I think he is leaning towards going pro basically immediately. Which would be fun. I think the thing about the Blue Jackets season thus far, or the thing about the rest of the season, the 10 games that are left, it's pointless. Like these games mean nothing beyond draft position. So why not sign Ken Johnson, get him in a few games, see what you've got, have some fun with it, stick him on a line with, oh God, I don't know, Cole Sillinger and Oliver Bjorkstrand and just watch them go. I think it could be, it's not going to be like a Zach Werenski thing where he signed, I believe, an AHL only contract, and then obviously they went and won the Calder Cup. Monsters aren't making the playoffs this season. We talked about that earlier this week with Dino Weinheimer, but I still think there is value in adding Ken Johnson to this team at this point in the season because what else are they going to do? Like, I don't think it benefits him necessarily to stay in college for another year. I think the Wolverines are going to be not bad next year, but I don't think they're going to be the powerhouse that they were this year. So yeah, there is benefit to being like the best guy on a team of pretty good guys, but I think he wants to go pro. I think he's excited to do it. I don't think he's going to want to stay at Michigan and watch, all of the other first round picks disappear off to their various NHL teams. Brendan Brisson is probably going to go to Vegas, and Eric Portillo, I assume, is signing with the Buffalo Sabres. God rest his soul. It's going to be very much a case of, well, all my friends are gone, so there's nothing really keeping me here. And so I would be, if we do not get a Ken Johnson contract by this time next week, I will be very, very surprised. I was talking with a couple of friends saying that it would be fun if he signed literally today and then played this weekend. I think that there is a game tomorrow, Saturday, and I think it would be extremely funny if he signed to play against Detroit in Detroit immediately after finishing his University of Michigan career. I just think that would be funny. I don't know that the paperwork will get pushed through in time. I don't know. I mean, it might surprise me. I might finish recording and then find out that it's happened. But I'm excited to see Ken Johnson in a Blue Jackets sweater. I think it'll be, like I said, it'll be fun. Like at this point, what do the Blue Jackets have to lose? I think the benefit is okay. Let's see what this kid's got. And then they have these games to really kind of analyze him at the NHL level, and then they can go into the summer being like, right, here is what you need to improve on. This is what we want you to do. This is your new training program. I don't think he needs any work on his hands. He's got incredible hands. His skating needs a little bit of work, I think, and he also needs to learn a little bit of discipline with the puck, I think, or he needs to learn when to pass, because I don't think he's a bad passer. I think he's an incredibly good passer, but sometimes he hangs onto the puck just a little too long. And I think that's something the Blue Jackets will need to like beat out of him. Not like with a stick or anything, just like beat it out of him. So I think these 10 games, or however many games, 8, 9, however many he plays when he finally signs, will give the Blue Jackets a lot of tape to work with in terms of sitting down and saying, okay, improve here, here, and here, come back, and we want to see an improvement in training camp. And so I think, because I've seen a lot of complaints about, well, why would you burn an entry level contract with 9 games left in the season? And I think it's because the Blue Jackets can get a head start on really taking control of his development. And I think the University of Michigan is one of the best college programs in the country for good reason. I think their training, their development is really good. Obviously, players have taken leaps and bounds in that program. But I think the Blue Jackets want to get their hands on him instead of just kind of having to watch what the college is doing. They can again look down and say they can sit down with him and play video with him and be like, look, you did this, do this instead. You've done this, you do this instead. Work out with these exercises on these days, eat this, eat that, and really kind of jumpstart the pro career. And then he's got an entire summer, and then hopefully he turns up at training camp, goes to Traverse City, and just bullies all of the other teams. That's what I'm excited for. So hopefully we see him sooner rather than later. We'll probably do an episode next week on Ken Johnson and how his season has gone. We'll talk to a prospect person who will know much more than I do about how his season has gone, because they will have seen many more games than I have. But that's kind of all from me today. Tomorrow, we're going to do a special weekend episode. I've got another draft profile with Sam McGilligan. We are going to be looking at Joakim Kamel, who is a Finnish player that's getting a lot of comparison and a lot of talk to do with Brad Lambert. And so we're kind of going to get into that and really, who is the better player? Who is the not overrated, but who is getting credit for things that he maybe shouldn't necessarily get credit for? And we're going to kind of do a little bit of a comparison between the two players. So that's kind of coming up tomorrow on Locked On Blue Jackets. I have been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOB FORSTER. You can find this podcast at LO_Blue Jackets. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, Stitcher, Odyssey, literally wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Audible, which is wild. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, we'll do a mailbag at some point next week. Email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And thank you once again for making me your first watch or your first listen of the day. Enjoy your weekend, and make sure you stay locked on.